So I am joined once again this morning for today's Breakfast Bite by Pete Baker. Hello, Pete.
Hi, Nathan. Hi, everybody. Good to be with you again.
Yeah, great to have you with us. Looking forward to another Breakfast Bite this morning. Well, what have you got for us then?
Well, I'm just intrigued by what people are having for their breakfast. Love to know. But yeah, we're continuing this Kingdom Living series, thinking about these kingdom principles. How do we live seeking first the kingdom of God? And so this morning, we're going to be thinking about Luke chapter 6, verse 45. I'll read that for us. This is from the NIV version. It says this: a good man, I will say a good person, a good person brings good things out of the good stored up in their heart. And an evil person brings evil things out of the evil stored up in their heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of. Or another version says that the mouth is the overflow of the heart, that what's in us will come out. You know, that's a universal principle. Anybody of any faith or no faith, I think, understands that what you put in is going to come out. So when I first learned this principle, I learned it as rubbish in, rubbish out. Actually, years ago, when I was a teenager, I heard this preach where the preacher talked about the idea of a GIGO: goodness in, goodness out, rubbish in, rubbish out. So we know this is true when it comes to, food. We put good stuff in that gives us better energy, better focus, better concentration. We know, don't we, there's certain food that when you eat it, you're just energized. You feel ready for the day. Again, what you're eating for your breakfast this morning maybe is going to set you up for a great day. And there's some things that we eat that are stodgy, that make us tired and lethargic. They might taste good for a moment, but then they're not good for us ultimately. Rubbish in, rubbish out. Goodness in, goodness out. And as well as this being a universal principle, and a principle when we apply it to food, it's also a spiritual principle. It's a principle of living for the kingdom of God, that if we put good things into our lives, then we'll produce good things with our lives. But if we put rubbish in, then rubbish will come out. For the mouth is the overflow of the heart. What is in us will come out of us. So of course, the principle is, hopefully the application that people take from this is, I want to put good things in. I want to store good things up. We call this principle the storing principle. What do we put into our lives? What do we put into our heart? What do we put into our mind? What do we put into our thinking? What do we put into our soul? What are we thinking about? What are we watching? What are we listening to? This is not a judgment, but it's a mirror. A lot of these principles, and it's not about pointing the finger at people. It's about holding up a mirror to say, okay, yeah, let's think about this. What am I watching? What am I allowing into my mind? What am I reading? What am I listening to? Who am I spending time with? Who are my influences? It's definitely true that you become like who you spend time with. I remember learning this as a teenager, very, very simply. You spend time with people, you pick up their mannerisms, you pick up their phrases, you pick up their ideas, you pick up their characteristics. And I really found that as a teenager that I spending time with certain people, I talk like them. I'd use phrases that they used. And that's so true in our spiritual walk. You spend time with Jesus, you start talking like him and thinking like him and acting like him. That is one of the secrets, isn't it, to Christianity, that it's about our walk with Jesus. So rubbish in, rubbish out. Maybe today's a day to take an inventory, to hold up a mirror to our lives and say, okay, well, what am I putting in to myself? What am I reading, listening to, watching? Who am I spending time with? What are my influences? What am I sitting under, in terms of like leadership? Who am I learning from? Who am I leaning from? Who am I gleaning from? Rubbish in, rubbish out. Are there some good things that I want my life to produce? Do I need to start putting those good things into myself? I was with someone recently, and they said this thing that almost seemed unbelievable. They said, in two different sentences. One sentence, they said, I really struggle to hear from God. It's like he's not there. I go to church and I just can't hear the voice of God. And then a minute later, it's a totally different sentence. You know what? I've just not read my Bible for ages. And I just thought, can you see the connection? And we did talk about it as well. Can you not see the connection? You're saying you can't hear from God, or God, where is God? But you're not reading the Bible. Goodness in, goodness out. So that's a great goodness exercise. Listening to great content, reading the Bible or listening to the Bible, spending time with godly people, listening to worship music, thinking about what we're watching, that's influencing our mind, influencing our thinking, influencing our ideology. Why do we believe what we believe? Where's that coming from? So that's a simple principle this morning from Luke chapter 6, verse 45. Goodness in, goodness out. Rubbish in, rubbish out. The mouth is the overflow of the heart. So my hope and my prayer is that today that we really think about what we're putting into our lives. I hope you enjoy your breakfast, but also think about the rest of your day. Goodness in, goodness out. Rubbish in, rubbish out. What are you going to put into yourself that's going to produce goodness?
That's really good, Pete. Thank you so much. Really good thought. Goodness in, goodness out. And like you say, what you have for breakfast will determine how much energy you have, how healthy you feel throughout the day. It's exactly the same with what music we are digesting, what films we're watching, what people we're spending time with, as you say.
Yeah.
So really good. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you very much. Do you have a musical recommendation for us? What's some good music to listen to kind of get you in the mood for today?
Well, I think if you tune into Pure 24/7 Radio, all our music is carefully checked to make sure it meets these Pure standards. So anything you listen to, it will be free of bad language, free of anything immoral, and free of anything illegal. So really, by tuning in, you don't need to be concerned about all these bad things, this rubbish going in, because it's all been checked to make sure it is only good things coming in.
Brilliant. That's great. Great example. There we go.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Pete. That's a really good thought for us to think about. Excellent.
Nice one.
Have a great day.
Bless you. Have a great day.